Set up.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone, this is True Crime with Megan. She
Hello.
covers a lot of true crime cases as well, and so I asked her to hop up tonight to discuss the Noah Presgrove case because I saw all of her coverage of it, and it's been interesting to me to learn about this case. So if you don't know her, make sure to go and drop her a follow,
Thank
and we're
you.
gonna get into this case tonight.
Awesome. You're gonna.
So, just to recap, Noah Presgrove, he was 19 years old, and he was found alongside US 81 in Jefferson County around Labor Day weekend, and this was back in 2023. And so the trauma that he experienced was more than enough to unalive him several times. The medical examiner found out that he had a fractured skull, broken ribs, and his teeth were knocked out and scattered around where his body was found. And so he was found on the side of this US highway, so many people speculated that it's a hit and run. But one thing that's been really suspicious in this case is that he was found without any clothing. And he was found with only two shoes on, and they didn't match each other. So only one of those shoes belonged to Noah. So that's just a recap about the case. But Megan, what did you think about this case when you first heard of it?
Um, Somebody did it to him. I mean, I'm 99.5% positive. That's all there is to it. I feel like it was some type of homicide, whether it was accidental or, you know, on purpose. I don't know. But at first they were trying to say it looked like a possible hit and run, but then there were no car debris or anything like that. And they said, no, it wasn't hit and run because of that. And then the medical examiner, after looking at the injuries, said that as well. But the more I've researched, and, my three favorite words are allegedly, supposedly, and reportedly.
Yeah.
But I've talked to several people who have close ties to that, and a lot of things don't add up. If y'all don't know, he was at a big party that night, and I believe he might have gotten into some kind of altercations, and I don't know how fast you want me to move, like if you want me to start
You can just
talking about that or.
wherever, and then we'll probably loop back around, and we may get
Okay.
some questions in the chat and things like that. But yeah, I saw News Nation reported where they were able to confirm that that night he got into an argument with his girlfriend. Noah did,
Yeah.
and then it was said that he needed some space, so he went on a walk. That's what said, and he was never seen alive again.
Yeah. It was a 4-day party weekend for Labor Day, correct?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was at a girl's house. It was Labor Day and her birthday, and they were staying there Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So maybe it was
Mhm.
3 nights. But lots of drinking, lots of partying, underage. I'm hearing rumor that there might have been some adults there with the underage drinkers as well. I can't confirm that. I wasn't there. But there was all kinds of things. They had a video. Have you seen the video that was going around?
Which
Um,
one?
well, there were several. They were doing things like drawing on each other. Then
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
then
I've
there's a
heard of that.
video. Yeah, there's a video of Noah um trying to get a guy to like hit him or slap him, like playing around.
Yeah.
And in the background of that video, you can see a boy, he looked to be 15 to 17, and he's holding like a shotgun in the background, which we know he wasn't shot, but lots of just it's not somewhere I would want my kids to be. You know what I'm saying? Drinking, underage.
Disturbing. It's disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I've got some info, um, like things
Yeah.
that have been said by the party goers. If you want me to kind of go
You
over
can
some
go
of
through
that.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing I'll share before you do that is, it's conflicting reports. So this happened over about 9 months now. It's been 9 months since this case has been going on, and we still don't have clear answers. And we're hearing conflicting reports, and I'm sure you're going to share like what party goers have said, and it's going to be conflicting reports from different people. So Noah's best friend Jack went on News Nation and he passed a polygraph. So he took a polygraph, passed it, and he's one who's come out and said that he thinks it was an accident. He thinks that it was a hit and run type thing. But a lot of people aren't believing that, and that's something that I personally have a hard time believing as well, because if it's a hit and run, how do you hit someone and then go back, steal their clothes, and drive off? And then if he was going on a walk to let off some air or whatever, I would imagine that a lot of the party goers would remember if he took off walking naked.
Exactly.
So it just doesn't make sense.
No, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Just the fact that the stories keep changing of the teenagers, young adults, their stories keep changing. They several of them allegedly, what's it called, reset their phone. I was trying to think of the word, where
I heard that. Yeah.
Others gave, like when the police wanted to see their phones, I heard that 2 or 3 of them gave them their mom's phone, so, and I know this to be fact. That night they had been posting on Snapchat all through the night, videos, partying, pictures, all this stuff. And then the next morning, somebody that had been kind of following them throughout the night, when they found out that Noah had passed away, they go back and get on Snapchat to try and see, well, are those videos still up? And it was all deleted. So just a ton of things that just don't add up.
And that's one thing that's been puzzling to me in this case, because when I first heard of it, I was open to the idea of it being a hit and run because, it's not first nature for me to think of the worst possible outcome. But then when you look at all of these people at this party and how they're acting, I always say the innocent don't hide. And it seems like these people at this party are hiding. And what does that mean? What are they hiding?
There's inconsistencies as well. Their stories are changing. There's something is up. I would be willing to bet lots of money somebody that was at that party knows what happened to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
especially given the location of it, it was very rural. It's not a city type, and Noah was found about a mile away from the house.
Yeah, where the party was.
In addition to where he was found, I'll bring this up and get your comment on it. It was interesting to me that there really wasn't a lot of blood around the immediate crime scene, and his injuries would cause a lot of blood, I would imagine. So the fact that there wasn't a lot of blood it's suspicious to me as well, and it makes me wonder.
Yeah, it makes me feel like he was unalived somewhere and then dropped off there. There's some things that I'm gonna kind of read here in a second or talk about that's gonna make you go, wow. You know what I mean? Like, because allegedly there's some people who showed up before, like the 911 call was made, where it looked like they were setting something up. I'm not gonna say that, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But there's just a lot of odd things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that just it's suspicious, and that's why I'm led to believe that there's something deeper going on here. And if something happened to Noah, I'm of the opinion now that it had to have been connected to that party.
Absolutely, 100%.
Given the area, I mean, it's very rural. So it's not like, Noah went on a walk and he went through a terrible neighborhood or something like that. That's what we discussed with the Riley Strain case. When Riley Strain left from the downtown Nashville bar, maybe he got into a bad neighborhood and something happened there. But with Noah, it's different. It's rural. So I mean, I don't even know if there would be, anything going on out along that stretch that he would have allegedly walked.
I would not think so. There's been, talk of, can I just go ahead and start reading a little bit of this?
Yeah.
Let's go over a little bit of this. So All right, this is all kind of gathered from different stories of the people who were at the party and news reports and all that. But okay, so on Saturday, September 2nd, he attends the party. He drives his own vehicle. Now, this is alleged. He walks in on somebody having oral.
I heard this.
Yes.
I've heard of
Now,
this
there was
before.
a heated argument between him. I'm not saying names, and I should say allegedly. I'm so worried about not saying allegedly. There was allegedly a heated argument between him and another guy that resulted in kind of pushing and, maybe a little bit of
Now,
stabbing.
do you know if this guy was allegedly around Noah's age, or was it like an older man?
Um, this person was around his age, I believe.
Okay.
Um, yeah, this person that, hold on, you're talking about, I'm not sure about the oral who he walked in on, but the
The
one
one he
that
got in the argument with.
yeah, around his age, like really
Okay.
close to him.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and then Noah got fish hooked, what that is, like when you're fighting. We know he got written on by several different people with permanent marker. Now he returns home in his own vehicle. And then, let me look. I'm trying to think. I'm skipping over some of this we've already talked about. So he goes back to the party. Okay, so we're like, he gets there. I guess this is Saturday. Drinking, dancing, having fun. There's several videos, as we said, lots of horseplay going on. So between the hours of 10 p.m. and midnight, he allegedly got into another huge argument with the same person from earlier because of somebody he was supposedly, allegedly sleeping with, possibly. Okay. There was a little bit of slapping, horse playing, stuff like that. Now at midnight, there was an ATV accident. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. But go ahead and tell the viewers.
Yeah, one of the guys that were there, they had an ATV. Noah and several of them asked if they could go ride the ATV, and Noah was driving. I think that's the one thing that most everybody has agreed on is the fact that Noah was driving. And they got into a wreck, but it wasn't a bad wreck. Nobody was like hurt or anything. I think that there was some flirting going on where this other guy was getting kind of mad. A few more slaps happened. There were some boys there from Texas. Okay, did you hear
about this? I heard a little bit about it. Yeah.
And I want to say that they were. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, my baby's screaming. They were kin to one of the girls who were at the party. I believe that's what I remember hearing about it. But hey, hold on just a second. I gotta go get my son to watch my baby. Hold on.
Okay. So those of y'all who are just joining in, we are discussing the Noah Presgrove case. So you may remember that Noah Presgrove was found on the morning of September 4th in 2023, and he was found alongside U.S. Highway 81 in Jefferson County, and this was following Labor Day weekend. So his death is one that is very suspicious. There's a lot of unanswered questions there, and specifically surrounding some of the issues that he's found. The fact that he's found without any clothing on, he's found wearing two shoes, but they're not matching, and only one of those shoes belongs to Noah. And the events preceding the discovery of the body, such as this big party that was going on for Labor Day weekend, where this big group of people, and I'm going to discuss this with Megan when she gets back, exactly around about how many people there were at this party, but it was a good number of people who were at this party, and it just seems very suspicious. So what we were just discussing was a timeline of events that happened the night preceding the discovery of Noah's body on Highway 81. So, are you ready to continue?
Yeah. So after the ATV accident, there was an accident. They weren't hurt, but they got really dirty. Okay. So Noah got in the shower, and two or three girls had to help bathe him off because he was highly intoxicated. Let me get a pen so that I can follow this timeline better. I think I'm getting old. My eyes are. All right. Where am I at? Okay. I told you about that photo where there is a long gun, like a shotgun in the background or whatever. Then from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., that's kind of where the activities are unknown. Okay, here it is. It was at 3 a.m. actually that the owner of that ATV said that Noah wrecked the Polaris and it got very dirty. So the girls washed him. All right. Then Noah wanted to go to bed with one of the girls, and she didn't want him in her bed, wanted him to sleep on the floor.
Okay.
Because allegedly he had messed around with another girl the night before. She didn't like that. That's when he got upset and decided that he was going to walk away. All right. They can't figure out what time it was. Like, everybody's kind of been saying different things. I know like around 3:15 to 3:30 is what they're normally saying, but then at 3:41, I believe, a female that was at the party post a selfie on Snapchat. Did you see that? Says Noah is missing. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. They said Noah would do this a lot. He would go missing from parties, kind of walk away and be in his own little world and not show up again, or they said this was not unusual for him to go missing. Well, if she posted that at 3:41, but y'all are saying he might have gone missing around 3:30, well, that's not but 11 minutes. You wouldn't in 11 minutes just be like, oh, he's missing. Does that make sense?
Now that is interesting, and that's something that I haven't heard or
So
looked
that
into.
3:15 to 3:30 wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't already say he's missing at 3:41. You know what I mean? Like after 11 minutes.
That is interesting. That because you wouldn't know if there was a party going on at that time, and that's one thing that I'm interested to find out exactly. When the party died down, because if there were people, and how many people were there?
I want
Do
to
we know
say
an
there were
estimate?
like between 40 and 50 coming back and forth, and that's one reason his family's being really patient with investigators and cops, because they're like, there were so many people there. It takes a while to get interviews and phones and all of this, but
Because if there's 40 to 50 people, coming in and out of that house, then how do you even know within that time frame that someone's missing? How do you not know that they're just outside or
that's what I'm saying.
around the property? Because I can imagine if they're drinking, doing whatever. I mean, they're not just all right there in the huddle. They're scattered out around the property.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm just trying to see where I was. So there's two stories allegedly that have circulated that Noah got mad, walked off. He got to a huge argument, and then went outside, still arguing. There is a story that says one of them reported that he was dead at 4 a.m. through an inbox, but he didn't find the body until 5:15 a.m. and called 911. But prior to one of the kids that was at the party finding the body, there were two truck drivers that had found Noah between 5 and 5:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It was said one of the guys was going on a fishing trip. Do you know about that?
I heard a little bit about that. Explain that whole story, because I've heard different things. Going on a fishing trip, not.
Yeah. He woke up early to go on a fishing trip with his dad. Messaged his dad, I think, at like 5 something. It told him he was on the way. And then it was when he was on the way to his dad's house or to the lake or wherever they were meeting to go fishing is when he saw Noah's body, allegedly.
Yeah.
But I have also heard that this same person reported that he was deceased before that 5:53. I think it was 5:53 a.m. Like went back to the party before that, talking about he. So that's where the stories don't add up. There's all kinds of. We know he was naked. He had on two pairs of shoes. They were mismatching. One was a Hey Dude. One was an Adidas.
Mm-hmm.
I do know he had those because whenever he was going to leave out of the house, he couldn't find one of his shoes, so he just grabbed one. There were teeth in the road, like one or two. Also, his gold chain was broken, but it doesn't all add up at all.
Yeah.
Um,
And I've been in the Justice for Noah Presgrove Facebook group, and that's where I saw a post made by a Caden where he states that he was the owner of the red Cherokee and the owner of the other gray Hey Dude found on Noah's body.
yeah,
So he's the owner of one of the shoes that
yep,
was found on Noah, apparently. And then I guess the Adidas was Noah's shoe.
yes, that's right. Another odd thing is that he left without clothes. He had just gotten a new phone on that Friday, left his phone there. Also his wallet. Yeah, there's a text that somebody said Noah passed around 4 a.m., but allegedly, somebody just said that in the chat. He didn't know supposedly until 5:50, I think it was 5:51 or 5:53. But
And
he had reported supposedly before that. So it was like, it just doesn't add up.
now, is this Noah's best friend,
Hmm.
Jack?
Yes.
So that's interesting because he's taken a polygraph and passed it. He came out on News Nation and said that.
Yeah.
So
So did Ted Bundy.
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then now we have to kind of ask ourselves, what's going on here? Is
Yeah.
this, does that clear him, or is this just an example of the polygraph system not being foolproof?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I, I think that Noah saw something that night or that weekend that he wasn't supposed to see, and ultimately that is what happened to him. That's my thoughts.
And something
Um,
else I want to ask you on this because it's something I'm trying to wrap my head around as well. Uh, do you think that I'm not sure, but do you think that this was a one person attack, or do you think it was a group type thing?
I feel like a group because his injuries were terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
they were terrible. Um, he had a lot of people were trying to say possibly it was the ATV accident. No, it was not the ATV. If he was that hurt after the ATV accident, he wouldn't have been able to get in the shower and walk and all that. Um, he had his chest, cranium, all that was messed up. And also he had roughly three pints of blood missing, and there wasn't 3 pints of blood at the scene where he was found. That to me right there tells you he was dropped off there.
Something's not right there.
3 pints of blood, but like there wasn't but a spot where he was found. I
Mhm.
mean,
And that's one thing I've discussed in covering this case multiple times is the fact of the amount of injuries he endured, the fact that there was blood missing. Blood doesn't evaporate,
right,
like water does, and then it's gone. It's
exactly.
gonna be there. It's gonna be visible. It's red. So
Agree.
where did it go? Where is it?
Yeah.
And something that's interesting to me in this case is, and maybe you can give some insight on it. Did Was the house ever searched? The house party house?
Okay, so I'm hearing different things about that too. See, that's the thing. There has not been, like, I don't know that any investigators or agencies have flat out just come out and told the public what they've done. But some
Mhm.
people have said that they did go that morning. Others say that they didn't. I've heard also that it smelled like bleach at that house the next day from several
Hmm.
people saying that. But now Jack's father and some moms, I believe it was, they
Mhm.
went and they said no, we didn't do anything with bleach. All we did was pick up like cans and throw away trash and stuff. Um, I don't know. I can't confirm that. And the source that I have that's really close, they said they can't either. They don't know for sure.
So we
It's
don't know
really,
yet.
really hush hush.
Yeah, it
Um,
seems like a lot of things are very quiet. And one thing that's continues to be interesting to me in this case is I don't think it's a hit and run,
no.
which means that there are people who are involved in this, and I'm surprised that the responsible parties are able to remain so silent after we're going on 9 months.
Exactly.
So I'm just wondering, when is something going to start to slip? Because if
Yeah.
there's a group involved, there's always a weak link.
Yep.
And when there
Always.
is, it's usually the weak link that reveals.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, their stories are changing. They're starting to kind of talk online now. There's been some to post on Facebook. There's been parents posting on Facebook.
I noticed that.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like somebody's going to break at some point. But I've also heard that some of those families, not saying any names, but they've got some deep ties and, you know,
I've heard that too, and that's something in discussing this case. I mean, it keeps circulating, and so with all these cases, we hear rumors, and we have to
yeah,
kind of take that as we will. And then if we turn it back out, it's allegedly. But
yes,
when you keep, and I've said this before, not even related to this case, but related to some other cases, when you keep hearing the same rumors from different people
yep,
that aren't even connected, that
yeah,
makes you wonder. That
it
makes you
does.
start to think about the credibility of that rumor and start to accept that it might be true.
Exactly. Somebody just asked about somebody asked about the alcohol level. I know I just saw. Oh, did the toxicology show he
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a drink? His blood level was 0.14. Um, and they also did like
Yep.
a DRUG test, and he didn't have
There's
yeah
nothing.
none.
Yeah, yeah, 0.14. That's what I was looking at. Um,
And I was trying to find on the autopsy. I had something I wanted to read, but I can't find it now. I should have gotten me a highlighter and been more prepared.
yeah, I know that's from the autopsy. The things that I found interesting, the key highlights was the fractured skull, the broken ribs, the knocked out teeth, and
Yep.
there were teeth scattered around his body where his body was found. And they say his fingertips were like charred, like
Yep.
I mean, I can't even imagine
Um,
all of
I think he was beaten. I really do. That's just
that.
me. Um, and it could have been possibly something not from that night that he knew or saw, but something else. I've heard talk about that he knew something he wasn't supposed to know is what I'm hearing, or possibly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was. I would say a group, most definitely. I've heard that the Texas Rangers have been looking into the Texas boys. I don't know if that includes interviews or investigation or what, but I don't know a whole lot about them. But there's been talk, could he have possibly jumped out of a moving vehicle? Even still, somebody knows. Somebody knows something.
And even still, it comes back to me because I've heard rumors. Someone came on a panel that I had on this case discussing, well, maybe a rock truck, like he got picked up under the rock truck and carried, or, whatever, because we discuss everything and try to evaluate and kind of discuss, could this have happened?
Yeah.
But where are the clothes? Where are they?
Yeah.
Because clothes, I mean, if he fell out of a truck, how does he fall out naked? And
Exactly.
if he's on a truck, if he was, picked up by a rock truck, whatever, drug, whatever scenario, where are the clothes at? And
Exactly.
I don't believe, I mean, that's a lot to, rip off, shorts and underwear and shirt. I've heard
Yeah.
some rumors that he may have been shirtless or he liked to go
Yeah, I think he
shirtless.
was shirtless. I do
Yeah.
think that. I think he had taken his shirt off. He was hot or something and took his shirt off. I've heard there was some possibly swapping of shorts. Like different from what they were originally there at the crime scene. It's just so much.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean,
that up.
it doesn't add up, and it's just it doesn't
But
add up.
yeah, it says all all phones of social media were wiped clean off of the several party goers' phones. So anything that they had on there involving that party can no longer be found. There were videos of two girls supposedly fussing on the porch about him being missing, and that's never been seen again. Supposedly, all these different, videos, pictures, they're gone.
Well, back to the innocent don't hide. What are
No,
they hiding?
no,
And I mean, that's really what leads me to believe something is wrong here, and they know something because they're hiding something. Something's being hidden.
I agree. Also, this is something else that has been said. There were some golf clubs there that night, and
Hmm.
now they haven't been seen again.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people have questioned could he have been beaten by golf clubs. So it's just there was one more point I wanted to read, and I can't even find it.
Do you have the autopsy pulled up? Is that what you're looking at?
I've got some. It didn't print off all of it, but I've got some of the pages.
'Cause what I was looking at from there that I also found kind of interesting was the fact that most of his injuries were torso up. So
Yeah,
I read where maybe he had some minor scratching, minor wounds below
yeah.
the
Oh,
waist,
I
but
don't know.
I read where it was mostly torso up, which is something that was also interesting to me because if you get hit by a car,
Yeah,
where he's standing at, I would imagine he's a decently tall. I mean, it would probably affect your legs.
yeah.
There wasn't no major damage to the lower body.
So yeah, he had head and neck injuries, skull fracture, brain swelling, four neck fractures,
Wow.
several lacerations and abrasions on his face and head. Part of a tooth was found at the scene, which we said that. Um, he also had abrasions and lacerations on his torso and arms and legs, but not a lot on his legs, I don't believe. Um, we talked about the blood alcohol level, all of his DRUG. That was here's the autopsy. The DRUG was negative. All of that
Yeah,
was. We
I
didn't
did
test
see that
positive
on
for
there.
any of those.
Now the 0.14 alcohol level is that? I heard that's not a very high alcohol
I,
content level.
I don't think that's super duper high. No. Um.
But some people compared it to maybe 3 drinks.
Yeah, that's about what
Easily.
I. That's
So
about what
that's
I would say.
what I've heard there, which was interesting because that means that he wasn't terribly intoxicated.
Right.
Um,
I agree. So it's not like he was just like stumbling in the middle of the road or anything like that. I'm sorry. I'm looking for the like I said, my phone didn't print them all
yeah.
out. So I'm trying to find
But
them.
it's also interesting because if we back up earlier in the night, remember the girls were having to help him shower
Yep.
because he was so intoxicated. So, but then again, maybe I mean, could you have sobered up over a couple hours, or
You
I don't
could,
know.
but from what I've heard, that there were videos also of the shower incident or whatever, and some of the people said that it looked like he was barely even responsive. So, in order to be that, or if you're that
Yeah,
intoxicated, I would think it would take a good night's sleep, and some Gatorade and all
yeah.
that to be able to be decent.
So that's
Um,
something new that I just thought about that doesn't make sense.
yeah, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. A lot of about the clothes. I've heard that the clothes that were left at the house were like given away. They weren't taken in by investigators. They were given away to kids for keepsakes and stuff. It just seems like it was a very sloppy investigation.
Yeah, and that it definitely. And when you have investigations that aren't engaged 100% from the beginning, that's where things start to slip through the cracks. And we see that with so many cases.
But
And I know,
luckily, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do believe the FBI is now involved.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that as well. So the FBI is involved. It seems like there are some investigative forces uh, pursuing this, which I think is a good thing because it's been 9 months now, just about 9 months. And, what do we know? I mean,
Yeah,
there's so many questions and not many answers, and it's very suspicious.
it is super.
And when you
I
don't
don't
get
know.
to a point where you're on the side of the highway without any clothes from a hit and run.
No, that's just,
So if somebody hits you and runs, the clothes are going to be somewhere
yeah,
around there, most
absolutely.
likely still on the body.
Um, did you ever hear about the Stephen Smith case from South Carolina?
Yes. Yeah,
Does this remind you of that? It does me.
it
You
does.
know, the wondering if they were beaten and laid there, or hit and run or whatever. Yeah, it reminds me so much of that Stephen Smith case.
Yeah, that's one I thought about discussing after this case came up because it reminded me of that case.
Yep.
And so one day I'm hoping to do a whole, maybe I'll do a live about Alex Murdaugh and we'll just go through and
I
discuss
love
all of it.
I
We'll
love
have
him.
Mallory.
I love that story, I should say.
I watched the documentary the other night to refresh. I mean, and it went through the Mallory Beach, and we have the
Yep.
mom and Paul, and then we have the Stephen. So it's, I mean,
All
so
that.
many bodies that are attacked. The maid Gloria.
Yes.
So many. There's a lot to discuss there. I mean, that
There
would take
is.
maybe
That'd
a
be like
live
a
or
week's
two.
worth.
Yeah, but that there is a connection there, and it's interesting. So many things that don't make sense there, and even more so here, because what happened
Yeah.
to the clothes? What went on at that party, and why is everyone being so quiet?
Right.
If
Well,
this is a case of friends, one of their friends is unalive and they want to know what happened to him, you think they'd be handing over everything they got so they could figure out what
right.
happened? That's right.
Exactly. And that's why part of me feels like it was a group of them,
Mhm.
several of them that could have done the beating if that's what it was, and they're just not going to talk and rat the other out because they don't want to be ratted out. And,
Yeah.
possibly if girls know and that's their friend group, they don't want to. I don't know, but I do believe that he was beaten by several people. That's my thoughts. But
Yeah. I definitely think that it had to have been
yeah, like
something other
Neville said,
than,
they'd be given info, not deleting. You're exactly right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're deleting information, it seems, hiding things. I mean, it's suspicious. And, one time early on in this case, when I heard the facts, I thought, maybe he did get mad or whatever, and he walked off and left, and he was pursued, and maybe maybe it wasn't a hit and run, but maybe they stopped, followed him in a car and got out and did something to him there. But that doesn't even make sense because where's the blood?
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm saying. It's something to do with something that happened at that party. It has to be. Has to be.
and where else would it have happened if it not there? Because that's a rural stretch in between. It's not like there's houses and offices and buildings and city. It's rural. It's a field. That's
Somebody
what
I did speak to said something about, and again, this is hearsay, so I don't know for sure, but there was at the party house there was like a shed or something in the back, like a work building or something that they're wanting to tear down or something. I don't know. I wouldn't do any of that.
whose house is that? Is it? I know it was one of the party goers. I guess was it an
Yeah.
adult or
Um,
what do we know about that house?
I believe it was one of the females, but I should know this.
That was something that was interesting to me because just thinking about it, who opens up their home to 40 or 50 for a weekend to just
Right.
parade in and party around and drink and
Yeah.
I mean that's a little too long
I know.
for
I
me.
believe there were adults there too, though, because on those Justice for Noah pages on Facebook, they've been posting like the laws for the the legalities of if you host a party with underage drinkers. Yeah, Beck, I thought I was wanting to say it was. I knew the last name was Holmes, but now is that C? I don't want to say names, but is Avery's sister's initials C?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking
We'll see in the chat. The chat's very helpful
they are.
when we skip a beat.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Um, yeah, I'm trying to see if there was anything else that I missed.
The person you speak to about this, were they able to?
I am not sure if they're in here or not. I have not seen. Let's see.
And if not, we could maybe do it another time. But that would be interesting to hear from someone.
Yeah, Beck, that's what I hear. I believe they're engaged now. Hold on just a second. All right, Justin, are you in here? Justin, are you in here? If you're in here, say, hey, it's Justin. He was getting on one of his children's accounts, so it wouldn't be his name. So I'm trying to see. But he didn't know if they even had 200 followers or not to be able to get on to talk. Yeah. I don't guess they're in here. But I can definitely talk to him and mention coming on maybe.
Set something up to discuss it.
He's got a lot of info, a lot.
Yeah.
And his sons wrestled with, they were on a wrestling team with Noah, and he's from there and all he knows, and he runs that Facebook group or helps to moderate it.
Mm-hmm.
Knows a lot about it. But, you know, on my end, if I had to pick anything, it's the dead giveaway is like we've been saying, the fact that 3 pints of blood was missing. There was not much blood at the scene. That's all there is to it. He had to have been beaten or unalived somewhere else and then taken there.
You have that, and then you have the fact that there's no clothes.
Yes,
that's it for me. That rules out hit and run because. Yeah. I mean, even if the blood wasn't right there, I mean, it would be along the highway. It doesn't it wouldn't disappear between it happening and the body being found. So that's it for me. It's something happened, and when that's confirmed to me, it's like, where could it have happened? It's a rural area. It's a very rural stretch of Highway 81. That's what I've seen on the map anyway. So what are the possibilities there, especially when it comes into play that it's most likely more than one person?
Yep.
Where do we have a big group of people at?
Yeah.
Right, a mile down the road at this party house where they've been partying all weekend.
Something else that was kind of odd is Jack allegedly also said that whenever Noah went missing, they took his ATV back out to go look for him. And when I made a video, I said, you didn't look too damn hard, because he wasn't but a mile down the road. So they went to look in ditches and all of this, like, unless they just didn't think he would have gone a mile down the road. But
well, I mean, it was right down the road. I mean, you go down the road and you turn. It was either left or right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like there was a lot of roads either. I saw it on the map view. It's a one straight run, and then here's the highway.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't look too hard.
And they knew he was missing. We were able to confirm that from the Snapchat that was posted, and then I believe maybe it was deleted or whatever, but that's been saved. So
we got that Snapchat. Hold on. So yeah, I'm hearing that one of them woke, I don't want to say names, but one of the boys woke people up at 5:15 saying that Noah had died, allegedly. And I'm hearing that some of them went to go see him, like his body.
Yeah.
You heard that? But that guy's dad said he wasn't texted until 5:53 a.m. But several of them are saying, no, we knew at 5:15 a.m.
What happened? That's a 30. How long is that? That's a
30
little
minutes.
over 20-minute gap
Yeah,
of time. I mean, a lot can happen in 20 minutes.
a lot.
They say it took less than 20 minutes for
Hey,
the Idaho